Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
You're listening to The Razor's Edge. My name's Matt, and I'm speaking to Jon from Conan at ArcTanGent Festival.
Hello there.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. A bit cold right now, but aside from that, I'm doing great.
Set sounded big up in the tent earlier.
Yeah, thanks. We got a message from Sam, who works at the Dome, I think, in London. He asked if we wanted him to do our sound, so we were like, yeah, cool. And then our mate Marios, who does our sound every now and again, messaged me and said, "Oh, am I doing your sound at the festival?" I'm like, "Oh, shit, I've already." So we kind of double booked.
Yeah.
But Marios is very understanding.
Do you get to come to festivals like this as a punter very often, with Conan being the size that they are?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't remember the last one I came to actually, is where we didn't play. But occasionally, like, I'll come to festivals. Like, my wife is very much into going to see live music as well. She's into metal, so Sarah will point out shows that we can go and see. I forget the name of that festival now. In Leicester.
Uprising, I suppose.
Uprising, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I went and we saw Discharge and a few other bands there. That was really cool.
No, definitely. Well, it's been a year of change for Conan in a couple of ways. First of all, you've got David Riley. He's not a completely new face.
No.
He's been performing with the band on and off for a few years, but he's now an official member of the band.
Yeah.
What's that brought to the dynamic with him being a permanent and contributing member?
Well, it means I'm no longer the oldest in the band, which is cool. I mean, the dynamic's great, actually. I think we're really lucky, really, to get someone like David in the band, because I've been such a huge fan of Fudge Tunnel. They've been really a big influence for the writing style of Conan and Ungraven as well. And I remember when I first spoke to Dave, because a friend of mine, James Smith, actually, Facebook friend, you might know him, put me in touch with Dave because he knew how much I loved Fudge Tunnel. Yeah. I got chatting to Dave and had a phone call with him about playing bass in Ungraven. And in the end, the first show he played with us was with Conan, and we did Sonic Blast down in Portugal, and then played at the Earache stage at I forget the name of the festival now, but it's one of the Glastonbury offshoots.
Sure.
But yeah, Dave he played on that stage, played the Earache stage, so he got to see Digby again. After all that furore in the 80s, 90s, whatever happened. Yeah. So that was interesting, and we haven't looked back. He's covered for Chris on quite a few festivals and a few tours, and it's been great. So love Dave to bits. He's a good friend now, so it's awesome. And he's, in terms of writing music, he's been really cool, suggesting stuff as we go along. So it's nice to have a little bit of that flavour in what we're doing.
Fantastic. Then the other thing is you've now joined Heavy Psych Sounds.
Yeah.
For, presumably the following album.
Yeah.
Looking able to see what's drawn you over to join Heavy Psych.
Well, actually, the deal that they offered was really cool. When we came to the end of just before lockdown, when we released Existential Void Guardian, we were on tour with Black Label Society in America, and we had a few major label makers offers, but we couldn't move because we had one album left at Napalm. And then when we released that album, Evidence of Immortality, those bigger labels, it wasn't the right time for us to move on to them. So we had an offer in hand from Heavy Psych. So it was just a case of just come out of lockdown, and it was thought it'd be a good idea just to use the phrase a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So we just took his offer. Yeah. Started writing the album, and we released it in spring next year, all being well. So it was just a cool offer. We're not going on his booking side. we're not going to make any changes to our existing booking situation, but yeah, it'd be cool to work with a label like Heavy Psych because been on a label like Napalm for a long time and an absolute brilliant label, but we just wanted to make a change.
Fair.
Yeah.
Been following your updates on social media for a while, and one of those things that's come up a lot has been ArcTanGent.
Yep.
Which it sounds really interesting. As someone who's in bands and helps with sort of management with bands in one of the other places that's been. Can you tell me more about ArcTanGent and when's it going to launch?
Yeah. Well, we're in testing phase at the moment. Your colleague Sean is one of our testers.
That's cool.
Yeah. We've released like a version of it to the testing group, and we're just making the change that they recommended now.
Yeah.
In terms of when will it be released to the public, don't know an answer to that yet. We're still working through getting what we call an MVP ready, minimum viable product, and that will be what we release to the public. Remember what Facebook was like when you first had it, and it was way simpler than what it is now, but it still did the same job more or less. That's what the MVP is. So we'll be doing the same ourselves. But like the thought process behind it is to like all those millions of bands who don't have an agent or are just starting out and don't really know which promoters to send their demos to. I was one of them, back in the day, and I remember when I was a young kid not knowing which promoters even in Liverpool to try and get a gig from. So we play like showcase nights and have to sell our own tickets and all that stuff. When it'd be cool if we were able to like support Cathedral or some of the other bands who were cool at that time. And what ArcTanGent is all about is giving those artists a direct line to the promoters who are promoting the shows that they might be interested in, instead of them having to wait until they're big enough to be thought worthy of returning an email. We want to create a platform whereby all of those parties interact with each other without those barriers.
I think it is a big barrier to entry for the smaller bands who are trying to figure out, that they need to get somewhere to be taken seriously, but then how do you get taken seriously if no one's giving you a chance? No, it's tough out there.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, and we got lucky. We somehow got through and it got to where we got, but we are definitely at the thin end of the wedge. So what we want ArcTanGent to do is to be there to help those bands who would otherwise struggle to be able to sort of see what's around them. And in doing that, we'll have you can sign up for a profile, and all the promoters who deal with bands like yours will be available for you to add as a friend. I mean, that relies upon them being on the platform, of course. So it's not like we've just got a preloaded, here's all the promoters you need. It's not like that. It's not like a Google search engine. It's like whenever you signed up to Facebook first time around, you didn't have any contacts at first, and you added them because they were friends of friends, and your network grew, and that was a real organic growth. And we want to do that, but specifically for bands and promoters and venues. And there's nothing like that at the moment. Try and find like a black metal promoter in Brussels on Facebook, and you can't. That search term just doesn't work. But on ArcTanGent, you'll be able to use those hashtags and find them just as easily as you might find a black metal band from Brussels on Bandcamp.
Sure.
So that's the core aim, is to try and reduce that sort of glass ceiling for all stakeholders, not just bands. So everyone can see the opportunities and get offered shows and be able to network with bands who are similar to them but in another country. Sort of like a professional networking platform, but specifically just for our world.
Excellent. Do you remember the first Conan show?
I do.
What was it like?
It was awesome. Probably not for the crowd, but I loved it. And it was me and Paul.
Yeah.
And we played. I worked at Liverpool City Council at that time, and it was a Liverpool City Council showcase day at a venue called the Zanzibar in Liverpool on Seal Street. And we played in the afternoon, and I remember we only had the tracks that we were demoing at that point for Horseback Battlehammer, and we played those tracks to a crowd of 30 to 40 people, and I filmed the whole thing on a camcorder which fell over halfway through the set, but it was still, you could still see the stage. And
Yeah, yeah.
I remember there was just one kid in front of the camera, like raising his fist every now and again. And I've lost that footage now, which I'm absolutely gutted by. But yeah, that was the first ever show. That was probably like mid to late 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was cool, you know, and we've come a long way since then. I remember the video of that. I had to keep pulling my pants up because I wasn't wearing a belt. Don't know why that stuck out, but that memory's stuck out.
It's funny what stays in your head after all those years.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And then what's next for Ungraven as well, finally?
Okay, so Ungraven, we've got an album recorded that's coming out with Heavy Psych Sounds.
Yeah.
It's 2 tracks. We've called it Hollows Made Homes in the Sunken Cheeks. And it's me and Dave Perry, who has played in Conan before on bass.
Yeah.
He's actually the guy who did all the synths on Grief Sequence.
15 minute long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also did the synths on the tracks that we did with the split with Slamatics.
Oh yeah. That's
He
good.
played bass with us at that point before he moved to Denmark. So me and Dave I recorded the guitars at Chris at Foal, sent it all over to Dave, and he recorded all the synths in Denmark. And then we send it back to Chris for mixing. We've had it mastered by James Plotkin, and it's with the label now, so I'm just waiting on them releasing it. I guess they probably try and release it around about springtime next year. But it's like really epic synth, guitar, noise, some vocal samples, like vocoder, sort of chanting and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool. I love it. I listen to it all the time. Even now, it's like I'm kind of fascinated by it.
So it's not a continuation of the first.
No, it's totally different. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first started Ungraven, it was me and the drum machine, which actually is how I ran writing a lot of Conan stuff now.
Yeah.
But it was just me and the drum machine, and it was. I tried to make that live, didn't work at all live. Then I got Tyler in on drums.
Yeah.
And that was cool, that was good. But I noticed I was starting to write stuff that sounded quite like Conan. And we got a few songs that sound very much like Conan tracks. And then we brought Dave in to play bass, and then it just sounded just like Conan then. So I thought, okay, I can't do that because I'm putting riffs and ideas into Ungraven, which really should be Conan
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it completely different, which is why we're going to release this album as it is. We'll see how it goes.
Excellent. And lastly, what festival food do you tend to go for when you're at a place like this?
Well, today I've had jerk chicken with rice, and I can't rule out having another portion, to be honest. It was so good. They're really tasty. I've got like a bit of a gluten problem, so I'm not probably avoid bread.
Yeah.
So I won't be having any pizza or pasta. I'll probably just see if I'm hungry in the next hour and maybe get another bite to eat before we think about going home.
So hell of an endorsement for jerk chicken then.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Thank you
for your time, John.
That's amazing.
This has been Conan at ArcTanGent.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.